Hey everyone, welcome to this video or episode, depending on how you're watching this. I'm going to talk a little bit today about women's weight loss regarding intermittent fasting and the use of it, right? So it's become such a buzzword. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Ryan Kimball. I'm a Ketogenic Fasting Health Coach specializing in women's weight loss. So what is intermittent fasting? As most of you probably know, it's just simply a method of switching up when you eat and when you don't eat so that you have longer periods without eating and shorter periods where you are eating, not necessarily lowering your caloric intake, but just shifting around the timing of your foods, right? There's many different ways to go about this, and there technically isn't any right or wrong way other than do the method that works for you. There are many different methods. Some people say, oh, it's 18-6. That's the best way to do intermittent fasting. And then I have clients that I've worked with who 18-6 makes them put on body fat, right? Or it doesn't at the very least get them to where they need to be. They have to do some other sort of fasting, sometimes every other day fasting, a 24-hour fast, then a no fast, and a 24-hour fast, then a no fast. That's a form of intermittent fasting, right? So don't be fooled by the cookie cutter intermittent fasting programs out there. You have to do what works for you, what your biology is telling you is the right way, right? But it is very effective when done correctly. When done incorrectly, when you're doing the type of intermittent fasting that your body isn't set up to do or doesn't work for you, it won't work. It can actually slow down your metabolism, make you add body fat. I've had women come to me and said, I've been intermittent fasting for 2 years and I put on 50 pounds. And I'm like, okay, what's going on here? That makes no sense. Well, they were fasting intermittently in a way that wasn't working for them. It was slowing down their metabolism. I had a lady who would do 24-hour fast 3 days a week. Her metabolism had slowed down to such a degree that whatever she ate, she ended up putting on body fat. Not quite, but pretty close. So you have to do intermittent fasting in a way that speeds up your metabolism and allows you to lose body fat very effectively. If you don't do that, then like with anything else, it's not going to work. There is a right way to do this, right? So it's very popular because it does work for a lot of people, especially in the beginning. And therefore it's kind of like very do-it-yourself type of dietary change that can be very effective. So I'm not saying don't try it. Absolutely. If you haven't done it before, check it out. You know, just the real simple method. If you've never fasted before, is to just stop snacking in between your meals. And when you've got that down, then start moving your meals closer together. So some people like to move dinner towards lunch so that the last meal of the day is earlier, and then they fast from that time, maybe 4 o'clock all the way to their breakfast. Other people like to move their breakfast up towards lunch so they finish eating maybe at 6 at night, and then they don't eat again until they have breakfast, and then that breakfast maybe at 9, and then it's at 10, and then it's at 11, and then they're up to noontime, and they're only having a lunch and dinner, and that's just 2 meals a day, right? So there's different ways of approaching it. Not everybody works with a change of moving breakfast towards lunch. Some people, that slows down their metabolism. Although that's a very popular way, and it's one that a lot of people talk about online, I can tell you from working with people every day, from women specifically, sometimes that has the reverse effect you're looking for because you aren't stimulating your hunger hormones and stimulating your metabolism early enough in the day to activate the metabolic responses that allow you to lose weight. Simple. So do something that you find works for you. You may have to play around with this, or, check me out and I'd be happy to help you. So let's look a little bit about why fasting works, specifically intermittent fasting. So there have literally been books about why fasting works, right? There's like hundreds of them out there now. So there's a lot of reasons why it works. But one of the most important reasons it works is it changes your insulin sensitivity, meaning you become more responsive to insulin, right? So sensitivity is a good thing in this case because as insulin increases a little bit, your body responds quickly. So what happens is when insulin increases too much, it tells your body to put on body fat. So if insulin only has to go up a little bit and your body responds right away, then you're less likely to put on body fat in response to rises in insulin. Right? A lot of times people don't understand that, so I want to make that really clear. It's a simple concept, and it's just, I don't know why it's not explained more, but if you're more sensitive to insulin, you will need less insulin, which will mean your body will be told not to put on body fat, right? So if insulin goes up high a lot because you're not very sensitive to it, then that insulin going high tells your body to put on body fat. If your insulin only has to go up maybe a little bit, and then all of a sudden you respond and your blood sugar balances and everything's great, you have energy, then your body's also not being told to put on body fat. It's just being told to make energy with that little insulin response. So that's why insulin sensitivity is almost depends on the person, but in many cases it is the key to changing your trajectory regarding weight gain or weight loss. So if you're stalled, increasing your insulin sensitivity can be the key. If you've never been able to lose weight, insulin sensitivity is often the underlying issue, right? So that's why intermittent fasting can help improve your sensitivity to insulin by making your body go for longer periods without stimulating the insulin, right? The reason you become insensitive to the insulin is because you eat so regularly, your body never has a chance to kind of reset, and you become overstimulated by insulin. If you've ever gone to a park with a bunch of kids and they're on the rides all day and they're eating all sorts of sugar and candy, and you think it's just the sugar and candy that's making them wired. Well, it's also the stimulation of the rides and everything. You just get wired, right? And then they're up all night. Well, this is what happens with insulin. You're always giving it sugar, you're always giving it stimulation, and then you just become insensitive to it, and you can't switch gears, right? You can't heal and repair, and you start putting on body fat, right? A little bit of a rough analogy, but hopefully that makes sense. So overall, intermittent fasting usually helps people, so I would definitely dive into it if you've never done it before, slowly. The other side of the coin is that if you fast too quickly, if you dive in and go, okay, I'm going to do a 24-hour fast, bam, I've never fasted before in my life, I'm going to do that can actually trigger your body to think that something terrible has happened, you're starving, and it shuts everything down. So you want to kind of slowly work into this. If you normally don't eat 12 hours from dinner to breakfast, then that's a great starting point. Go up to 13 hours. Try going 13 hours without eating, and then go up to 14 and go up to 15. And just ease your way up. Even if you think you could do 24 hours and get through it, that's not the point. You should always feel energized, satiated, and you may be hungry, but you're not feeling malnourished, and cognitively aware. If these three things aren't going on while you're fasting, then you're going into something you could call a starvation mode. And basically your metabolism is shutting down, everything's being slowed down so that you will retain body fat. Opposite effect of what we're looking for. So slow is faster when fasting. That's something I always say to my clients. If you want to start fasting, start slow and you'll get better results. Okay, great. So I wrote a whole article on this. I want to make sure I covered all the points that I had discussed here. Yeah, so this was very interesting. There was a study done. It's actually done specifically targeting women who are obese, right? It was an International Journal of Obesity, and it involved 88 women, and they used intermittent fasting, and it was used in comparison with energy restriction, meaning just a lower amount of food, right? So they would still eat the same time each day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, just smaller amounts of calorie reduction would be another way of talking about that. And then the other women didn't do calorie reduction. They did intermittent fasting. So these other women were getting to eat more, but they were fasting intermittently. And the intermittent fasting group lost significantly more weight. It didn't actually say how much more. I'm not sure why. But they lost significantly more weight, including body fat, than the caloric restriction group, right? So calorie restriction, we've known for many years, doesn't work. It's kept going by different marketing agencies that want you to be fat so they can sell you things, to be honest. But the intermittent fasting in this study was shown that, caloric restriction doesn't work. Again, intermittent fasting definitely does work. So simply put, try intermittent fasting. If you want some help with it, if you've done it before and it hasn't worked for you, you've done something wrong. It always works when it's done correctly. It's just one of those things that is like, if you turn the doorknob and pull the door, it will always open, right? So if you do intermittent fasting correctly, you will always get the results you're looking for. You may need to do other things in conjunction with it, but it's not the intermittent fasting that was at fault. It was the fact that you didn't know that you also had whatever, mold in your body that needed to be handled while you do the fasting, or, you weren't doing the right diet, or you did it too quickly, or you weren't doing enough exercise with it, or you're doing it the wrong time, right? There's a lot of factors. It doesn't have to be complicated though. Once you figure it out, what works for your body, it's super simple. It always is. It's a simplicity that will work for you. It's not a complexity. So if things are seeming complex, then something hasn't been worked out, right? Okay, hopefully that makes sense. I just want to give you a quick video here on intermittent fasting. If you'd like more information from me, check me out on Instagram at Longevity Fitness and Health, the same handle for Facebook. You can check my link tree in either Facebook or Instagram and access my website, my podcast, YouTube channel, you name it. Get in touch with me if you'd like to work with me. Check out my free Facebook group for women's weight loss. I'm also accessible via either of those, and I'd be happy to help you. Thank you for watching today. Have a great rest of your day.